All right, let's just jump right in. If you work with data, you know the grind, right? That whole cycle of writing, rewriting, and debugging Python scripts. But what if you could generate some really complex, professional-level analysis and visualizations from just a single command? Today, we're going to look at a technique that makes this whole idea not just possible, but actually incredibly simple.
I mean, we've all been there, staring at an error message, trying to figure out why on earth our data isn't grouping correctly, or why a plot just refuses to render. It's just hours of tedious work that stands between you and the actual insights you're trying to find. It's frustrating, to say the least.
And this really shows the huge shift we're talking about. On one side, you've got the traditional path, hours of writing and debugging code. But on the other, there's this new reality, a complete script generated in just seconds. This isn't just a small improvement, it's a total transformation of your entire workflow.
So what's making all this possible? Well, let's meet the tool that's at the heart of this whole revolution, an AI assistant called Notebook LLM.
The concept here is just beautifully simple. Notebook LLM is an AI model that's been designed specifically for data notebooks. It understands your analysis goals from a plain English command. You just tell it what you need, and it handles all the heavy lifting, the writing, the structuring, and even optimizing the Python code to get it done.
And this leads us to the core technique here, what we're calling the one-prompt method. You can pretty much forget building scripts line by line. The entire process hinges on just crafting one clear, comprehensive command.
And the setup is incredibly fast. First, you just import your standard libraries. Here we're using pandas for the data and matplotlib for the plots. Second, you load up your dataset. In this case, it's a pretty typical sales_data.csv file. And third, you write your prompt. That's literally it.
Now, what's really cool is the prompt itself. This is the magic. It's not code, it's just a direct instruction, We're asking for 3 distinct statistical calculations and a specific grouped visualization, all in one sentence. Of course, this might just be your starting point. Real-world analysis often means you'll refine the prompt, but the clarity here is what gives us such a powerful head start.
So, with that single command given, what do we actually get back? Let's take a look at the results and see how this all comes together in, well, literally seconds.
And there it is, just like that. Notebook LLM instantly gives you a complete Python script. And notice, it's not just a few lines, it's got the library imports, the data loading, the calculations we asked for, and even the plotting code with proper labels and a title. It's clean, it's professional, and it's ready to run immediately. No debugging, no syntax errors, just a finished product.
So, what's really happening under the hood here? Well, the code isn't just doing basic math. It correctly finds the revenue column, it computes the mean, median, and standard deviation, and then, and this is the really crucial part for any kind of business reporting, it performs the grouping operation on the region column to structure the visualization correctly. That's a multi-step logical process, and it's handled perfectly.
And here's the final output, the big payoff. We run that generated code and boom, a perfectly clean bar chart that visualizes regional sales performance. You can immediately see which regions are the top performers and which ones are lagging. We went from a simple English sentence to a valuable business insight in less than a minute. You see, this changes everything. It completely reframes your entire workflow around this principle of coding smarter, not harder. Your focus actually shifts from writing all that boilerplate code to asking the right analytical questions.
Think about the impact of that. If you can reduce your initial coding time by something like 95%, that time doesn't just disappear. It gets reallocated to what really matters: interpreting the data, finding the story, and making those strategic decisions. You get to spend less time being a coder and more time being an analyst.
So ultimately, it's probably best to think of a tool like Notebook LLM not as some simple assistant, but as a genuine team member. It's like a partner that handles all the tedious, repetitive stuff, which frees you up to focus on the high-level strategic thinking that, we humans do best.
So, this leaves us with one last thought. When that massive barrier of complex coding is suddenly removed, what becomes possible? What's that deep, challenging question about your own data that you'll finally have the time to answer first?